Hello everyone, how is it going? I think it's time for another lazy video. Usually I make these in my car while I'm kind of just driving around thinking about things. But today for once I found myself laying here thinking about things next to the lovely Warhammer shelf. That is the famous Tau Kroot T-Rex way up there at the top. Way up yonder. What I'm thinking about is unfortunately not as fun and upbeat and happy as I usually am about Warhammer. And that's because I've just been, I don't know. I think it was Valrak put out a video recently that was kind of similar to what I've been thinking about lately. I think he might have put it out today actually. It all kind of blurs together at this point. But is anybody else just kind of like not like finding it very hard to be into the game of Warhammer these days, or is it just me? Um, like I got into Warhammer the end of seventh, going into eighth edition, I believe, and now we are at 10th edition. So I've been in it for a bit, and it seems like just as the years have went by, I find myself less and less inspired to actually play the game. I still love the models, still love collecting the models, painting the models, still love looking at them and watching videos. I love the lore videos, I love the books. I'm loving Space Marine 2 the game. But in terms of like playing the tabletop game, I've never had so little enjoyment in it. And I've played a fair bit of, 10th edition and ninth edition before it, and it's definitely, I don't know what the right word is, and he talked about it a bit in his video. It's like it's not necessarily worse, but it's like the fun is out of it in a bit, or like it's losing it a lot. And there's a couple things. There's a couple things around it, and I just wanted to kind of talk about this because it's been something that's been bothering me lately. Because I just realized it's like, wow, it's been like many months since I've felt so inclined to like get a game going. And it does a little bit like that is what used to motivate me so much to build and paint as much and as quick as I was. I still am. Like every time I get some free time, I'm working a night shift or whatever, I get some painting done or whatever, but not at the rate that I used to. And it's because I'm not playing the game. It used to be, oh, I need to get this done so I can play it with it next week, next game, whatever. And now I don't really have that, so I'm just kind of going a lot slower at my own pace and whatever. And so yeah, I just want to talk about that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe a lot of people love 10th edition. Um, maybe it's just me that doesn't like it. So there's a couple things, right? So in terms of the game, it's like it's simplified, and usually for somebody like a negative IQ lizard person such as myself, um, that should be a good thing. But it's like it's simpler, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like it used to be so the rules around like leaders. um I really don't like the way it is now. So like you have a character model, let's say it's like a guy in Terminator armor, and it used to be you just had your characters and they were just on the battlefield, and as long as there was like other units in front of them, then they couldn't be shot at, which makes sense. They're like behind, they're leading, and but so it just made sense. So if they're behind, they're safe. If they're a really big character, like a really big demon prince or something, obviously they can't be hidden by little infantry and stuff, so you can shoot them. And it just made it so it's like, oh, if you wanna like YOLO in with your jump pack commander or whatever, then that was like a tactical decision you chose to make. I chose to send him up at the risk of losing him. And so you like position them that way. Now they force you to have them in a unit with stuff. Not force, but like that's what you're supposed to do because that's how they give most of their buffs and stuff now. But then you have this weird thing where you have all these weird units where it's really like two units stuck together, and sometimes they have different toughnesses. Like the character is tougher than the infantry that he is with, and so then it's this weird thing where so the infantry is getting shot, and if they all get killed, then he is still getting wounded as if he were as tough or as weak as them, and only if he then survives that, then he gets to use his own rules, and it's I don't know, it's just kind of needlessly dumb, and it just kind of like makes the characters not feel as like special or cool as they used to be. Like it used to be so fun to be like, oh, I really kitted out this one character and he's going to do this cool thing. He's like a mega buffing guy, or he's a mega killy guy, and I'm going to like sneak him along and he's going to go and do this. And I don't know, so characters just kind of like don't feel very fun like they used to. All the customization and all the uniqueness gone, from a lot of units, like a ton of units lost, like, and just like really simple stuff, like stuff that didn't need to be simplified, like how, let's think of a unit that I have, like the Chaos Terminators, right? So you had like Terminators with Power Fists and Chain Fists, and then you had like Power Sword, Power Axe, Power Maul, and they all had different rules, right? So it was like a choice. It wasn't a huge choice, they weren't that different, but you're like, no, this is my guy, and I gave him, um, the Power Axe, so I get the Power Axe, and now they just call them all like accursed weapons, I think. They're all just one thing. So now you have all those unique weapons, and they're just kind of like nothing now. Like you could give them a stick, and it's the same thing. Um, What's another one that drives me nuts that they got rid of? If you see a weird little glitchy edit here, it's because I remembered what it was that I was thinking of. Oh, I just remembered. Not even necessarily. Um, Not necessarily. Now I'm getting away from weapons. So the weapons thing that's really annoying. That's happened with a ton of guys. And not just weapons, like different war gear options that like it's some like there's some I can't even think of all the examples now. There's so many things that's like they've been in the game for years. They're not hurting anybody. They're such a small thing, but they're things that people liked or were fun, or they modeled their unit to have that thing, and then they just go and take them all away. They took away a ton of the Tyranids, little upgrades like toxin sacs and adrenal glands and things like that, which they're so tiny, but they were just like they weren't hurting anybody. There were these fun little things, and they were like 5 points here, 10 points there, so you could like, oh, my army is, I'm playing a 1,500 point game, and I have 1,487 points, so I can got a couple little extra points at the end there, and it was fun to like put those little upgrades on things, and so most of that stuff is all gone now. The other one, now I'm getting away from some of the rule, like some of what I was talking about previously that's kind of discouraging. It's the relentless and aggressive like rule changing, um and also model like models being discontinued, or what models your army can take changing, like basically it's changing so fast that it's so hard to keep up with, especially if you're someone who, like me, likes to play more than one army. Um, it's not only exhausting and time consuming to try to keep up with everything when things are changing so quickly with rules and missions and updates and FAQs and all this stuff. It's too expensive. I make very good money. I'm probably better off than a lot of people that try to play Warhammer. I'm not rich by any means or anything, but would not I would not and am not willing to buy all of the things that I need to play the rules legitimately. I'll fully admit, like, I will find them online or I won't use them, basically. I bought the new Tau Codex just because I love the Kroot so much and I wanted that lore and stuff. But I am not buying these new codexes that then the rules aren't even accurate in them. Sometimes immediately, if not within a few weeks. Um, it's just unmanageable for people, and then oh well, then you can just pay to be part of this subscription or that subscription, and then you got to keep up to date with that. The rules distribution, it just continues to just get more and more absurd. Like it's an expensive hobby already. You spend so much on models and paints and everything else. I don't want to waste my money on paper. You know what I mean? Like for the price of the codex, I could get a whole new kit. I don't I don't want to do that. And I don't want to have to do that and then it's not even valid. Like take the extra time, please take the extra time and iron it out for another. I don't care if it takes another year. You know what I mean? Like let it cook for another year, so then it's actually accurate. Like and really sit down and plan out all the codexes at once, so that when one comes out, it doesn't invalidate four other ones. Like it seems so like disorganized and silly, and then it's just on the customer to buy extra stuff or every week or every game you go online and you got to check, oh, what just changed, what is invalid now, what's whatever. And then on top of that, this is really discouraging for me. So it it's I literally will get like emotional. It's so upsetting. We just saw the most egregious example of this with Age of Sigmar of all things, and I'm not an Age of Sigmar player, but I feel terrible for those guys that are. It's the rampant either moving or just discontinuing of models. So what I mean is, so World Eaters. I think it kind of started with that. I mean, it started before that. It started with Space Marines. Like we know that old models eventually will be gone. Like eventually, really old kits that are really showing their age, they're going to be phased out and gone. But what they seem to really want to do is they really, at any opportunity they can, they don't want to replace the old kits. They want to come up with a new one that is just different enough that you can't really use your old ones as like just keep you can't really just you can't or you won't want to just keep using your old ones. You want to get the new stuff. So and I think it kind of started with Space Marines, right? So you had your firstborn Marines, and rather than just make these are the new better looking tactical Marines or the new Devastator squads or whatever, then they made the Primaris, right? And they just updated, they're slowly just going through and updating everything with Primaris. For unit, they're basically the same. Like they all have like a firstborn Marine counterpart, but rather than just say, oh, these are the new firstborn, they had to go and make a whole new thing called Primaris, so that then if you're somebody who had a whole firstborn army, you're going to want to go and like you're not going to just keep using your firstborn army because they're not Primaris. Like it's it's very frustrating. I don't know. Like um, they went and made the Kroot Rampagers, the Krootox Rampagers, right? Which are awesome. They're cool. I have some on the shelf right here. I love them. But I think at some point it probably was brought up to do the Narlock Riders, right? Because a bunch of people have them. A bunch of people have the 3D printed ones or they have the old ones because it was a very popular kit. People loved it. And I think that rather than bring like make new ones of those models, which people already have, and they would just use their old ones, they're like, no, we're going to make a different new thing, so then people will have to buy it, right? And that one's a little more okay because it is an entirely new model, but they're doing it with a lot of things. A lot of things they're replacing them. They're replacing them with a similar but different thing, just enough or different base sizes. They're like, oh, here's new Kroot Carnivores. but they're all on different bases. So all your if you had 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 Kroot models, they're all on the wrong bases now. You got to either buy all brand new bases, got to be GW bases or they are not valid, and replace all of them, or you got to buy all new Kroot carnivores. Same with the hounds. Oh, they always came in units of 4 before. Well, now they come in units of 5, and I think they're on a different size base as well. It it's it's frustrating. It's like they're just it's so like clear they're just being as like ruthless about trying to get as much possible money at the cost of the customers like love and enjoyment. The other thing is, so that I haven't gone into the discontinuing of models yet. Like models that have been around forever that people love and just desperately want updated or replaced, they just get rid of them and will make new things instead. So no, you're crossing your fingers and hoping forever for an updated Dimachron, or um, you had Terminator Lords for your World Eaters army, and oh my God, I've been collecting World Eaters for 20 years and just had to use the stupid Chaos Space Marine rules. We're finally getting our own book, and Angron's coming back, and oh, three-quarters of my army are now garbage. They're all invalid because even though World Eaters are Chaos Space Marines, and they've always used the Chaos Space Marine rules, and they've always had to use all their models, so when anyone that had a World Eaters army had built a whole Chaos Space Marine army already, painted as World Eaters, now all that stuff doesn't work. Now you can't take your jump pack captains or your Terminator captains or your um, what would you have had as a world eaters? Not dark apostles, but um, normal chaos marines, um, possessed, warp talons, any of these things that have always are the bikers, all the stuff that people had, all just gone, gone. Oh, but by the way, buy the new stuff because you still want to have World Eaters army, right? You just had to get rid of half of yours that no longer fits in the army. Well, you're gonna buy the 8 bound, right? Right? I did. Um, yeah, it just sucks. The Dimachron, right? People love the Dimachron. People were running 3 of them in tournaments just like what, a year or 2 ago. And what do? They put out the Norn Assimilator slash Emissary, who is very similar size, very similar battlefield role, similar proportions, but it's not a Dimachron. It's called a different thing now, and it's on a different base size. So if you had Dimachrons, too bad, they're gone. But buy this new thing. Buy 3 of them actually, or you gotta rebase your Dimachrons and probably kit bash them because they're just different enough that people probably wouldn't let that fly as in tournaments and stuff. So I don't know. Between the rules changing and being way too expensive and inaccessible, um, the game being kind of like dumbed down, like simpler but not simpler, and at the cost of like fun and customization, and then just like I have no faith that anything I buy is going to be around in a few years anymore. The thing I started to talk about and I forgot, the frickin' Stormcast, their whole range is brand new. They've only been around for like what, 10 years maybe at the most. Half their range just got axed. Brand new nice models. People had whole armies of that stuff gone. That would be like, it would be almost like if they started getting rid of Primaris stuff already. That's how like new that stuff was. And it's just I don't know, like I'm losing faith in the company. Like you can't lose faith in the models themselves. Like if you just like looking at the models and painting and building them and that's your fun, you can still do that. You don't got to worry about that. But as far as playing the game, I'm like I don't think they're doing a very good job of it lately. Like it's not fun, and then I'm worried I'm going to put this time into a cool unit that I want to play, and then I'm going to be able to play it next year. So I don't know. That's kind of what I've been thinking about lately. Sorry that's a little bit of a downer lately. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody loves 10th edition, but I don't know. Like none of my friends are playing it anymore either. Nobody's been playing it at all. We're all playing video games more. Um, yeah, that's about it for today, guys. We'll hopefully have a more cheerful video coming very soon. Bye for now.